Okay, this is a follow-up video on the previous video I did for SCADA over ERPS and multi-point services, and we expanded this network a little bit. So as you can see here, I added a 4,000 ring, if I can call it like this, 4,000 nodes here. And then we have a sort of a 5,000, and the 5,000 is not per se a ring, but it sort of closes in on 1010, and so that makes it different from this one. So in the previous video I showed you how I created the SCADA number 1, picking up all the 1000 series SCADA RTUs, SCADA number 2 from the 2000 series, so basically all these RTUs going into one port down there, and SCADA number 3, which were all the local SCADA on ring, if you want, ring 3000 right here, if we could call it like that. So I just want to briefly show you that for the 4000 RTUs here, I don't have the benefit of having some protection but on this link, but I do have protection right there. And the way I've done this one is basically by creating a 4000 ring that you see right here, and then I created another multi-point service right there. Even though it's point-to-point, it is multi-point. Keep in mind, the reason why I use multi-point here and not point-to-point is, again, for the capability of bridging different tunnels with these RFI, which is VFI, virtual forwarding instances, that where the terminating tunnel can jump into another tunnel like a ring or some other point-to-point, not a point-to-point, other multi-point, for example. Okay, so the 4000 RTU, if I show this SCADA here, basically is using ring 4, and you can see all the tunnels that are used. So ring 4, it's using ring number 1, the core ring. It's using this sub-ring here, using this other sub-ring, and finally using the multi-point. Notice that you cannot do a virtual forwarding instance between two ring entities. It's got to be between a multi-point and a ring, but it could be a ring, a multi-point, another ERPS instance, and another multi-point, like it's shown right here in SCADA 4. So I haven't done the SCADA 5 right here yet, so this is what I'm about to do. Before that, let me pause to make sure I have the right number of LAN links, and we'll do number 5. Okay, so I made sure I had the right number of LAN ports here, and I think there are probably more than one way you could do this. One thing I cannot do is I cannot make a ring here, let's say ring 5. I can make a ring 5, but that ring cannot be a sub-ring of this main ring number 1 right here. And again, the reason is because I don't have two nodes right there. If I had two nodes, it would be possible. For example, like it right here and right there. But in this case, I cannot do this. So what I plan to do is, I think I will make a ring out of the 5000, and then we'll connect this ring to a protected multi-point from the SCADA head end here to 1010. So let's go ahead and do these constructions. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a tunnel that I'll call ring 5, and it'll be a logical ring, not a sub-ring. So I select the nodes in ring 5, and notice I wanted the node has to be this 1010. Link selection, and we'll make the ring break between 5010, 5020. So 5020, and should have a neighbor 5010. Whoa, what's happening here? Oh, there you go. 510, 520. Next, and that's good. And the next thing is I'm going to create, see, so right here, as I explained earlier, I couldn't bridge this ERPS ring and this ERPS ring. For some reason that, that doesn't work. So what I'm going to do now is create a protected multi-point tunnel between 1010 and 3030. So I'm going to go and call this multi-point 3. I don't think it's a very good name because it doesn't mean much when you look at it on its own, but it's a multi-point service. It will have protection. And multi-point can hit multiple points. I haven't shown you this. In this case, all my multi-point are point-to-point, but they certainly can have multiple points. So it's going to be from here to there, and it's going to ask for a link selection for sort of a main path. And you see now I'm going very quickly, but normally I'd be very careful to select, something that, somehow either makes sense in terms of bandwidth, in terms of whether or not I have a radio link, whether or not the fiber is reliable, and so on. But let's say I'm going to pick this, and now I'm going to pick a backup path. Select an LSP to protect. Yeah, so it's a multi-point, so I'm going to protect this guy here, this link, and here's how I'm going to protect it. Notice this is a single point of failure, this node right there, but hopefully it's different cards, it's got redundant CSM and so on, but that certainly is a single point of failure. So we'll avoid doing this through here, and I certainly could do that, and then I would have a single point of failure on this fiber, but here's the way I'm going to get there. BFD session. Where you have to be careful is you could change the interval here. Keep in mind this is sending a held packet every 5 milliseconds, so that consumes bandwidth. So if you're concerned about bandwidth, you certainly wouldn't do it this way. So here's the single point of failure, but hopefully these ports are on different cards. Alright, so I'm done there. And finally, I'm going to create a SCADA 5 service. And here's SCADA 5. SCADA 5, let's assume. Actually, probably should be an E3 because it would prevent the RTUs from. Let's make it an E3. There you go. Should have done that for the other ones. I haven't done that, but and let's pick up RTU ports. So these are Ethernet ports where my RTUs would be connected. I don't need to do it at the 1010 site here, but that's been taken care of already. I need to do it at this 3030 site. That's where it's going to drop to the SCADA master. Now notice I have leaves. See, I can go next here because I cannot just have leaves. So at the 3030 sites, I'd have to change this into a route, and then the rest are leaves. Alright, so I'm done there. Keep the tags. We're not going to worry about tagging. And in this case, you have a whole bunch of different tunnels, and I could display them. So that one is definitely something I need to select. And in this case, if you look at my multi-point 3, right there is the next one. And that pretty much shows exactly what's going to happen to the traffic. So the ring here is an ERPS ring. It doesn't have sub rings, it's just one main ring. And here's the link that is normally blocked. And if anything happens on the other links there, each individual link here is protected by a BFD session. So a BFD from this point to there, here to here, here to there, and if anything happens, it will signal to the ERPS ring that this block port needs to be unblocked. And how fast that's going to be depends on how quickly you send the BFD session. It can be sub 50 millisecond. If you choose to have slower BFD, it'll be slightly slower, and that really depends on your application. For SCADA, you could probably afford to go a little slower. And there's a VFI session here, so virtual forwarding instance, where the packets reach node 1010. They're actually going to get bridged onto the multi-point tunnel. and this is a normal path of the multi-point tunnel, and this tunnel is protected end to end. Notice that the dot is right here, the dot is right there. What does that mean? That means that this tunnel does not drop at these other sites, because this is multi-point tunnel. If I had chosen to drop at 3 locations, let's say 10-10, 30-30, and 30-10, you would see a little dot right there, and that would mean that it can actually get bridged there to another VFI session, or I could drop something there. So this tunnel is just passing through all of these sites, and should anything happen in between here, that's monitored by another BFD session right here, and then it would switch to the alternate path protecting this particular link right there. And let's just continue. I'm not going to worry about this. Labels, here's a summary of what this service looks like, and here's the ring, ERPS ring, the ring break, the multi-point service with one link here protected by this one right there. And I'm done. Let's close this, and let's go to the network tab, and let's take a look at SCADA number 5, and there it is. All right. Many ways. You see, this network's getting a little complex, a little, so I got to be a little creative. So, but just showing you basically how to, make use of rings and so on, to actually, create services where I have redundancy, and I also have survivability in case of fiber breaks. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Thanks.